to the Leo Training Podcast with Joe DeLeo. You'll hear in-depth interviews and tips from world-class athletes, coaches, and industry-leading experts to help you train smarter and improve at what you love to do. Train smarter, get stronger, move better, race faster. Here's your host, Joe DeLeo.
We're back with episode 39 of the Leo Training Podcast. This week's guest is Chris Blyth. Chris is the CEO of LIFT. LIFT is an online digital platform that connects trainers to clients around the world. In this interview, Chris and I sit down and we talk about his experiences as a trainer and how he identified some of the problems that trainers face as they work throughout the year, such as fluctuations in clientele during the summer months. He also wanted to create LIFT to put together a platform that will allow clients and trainers to create a better experience, both for the teacher and for the student. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this brand new episode. Chris Blyth, welcome to the Leo Training Podcast. It's great to have you on the show. Thank you for taking the time to come on.
It's great to be here. Thanks for inviting me, Joe.
Absolutely. So before we kind of launch into what we're going to talk about on this episode, why don't you take a moment of your time, introduce yourself, let the audience know who you are and what you're kind of doing in the health and fitness industry currently.
Absolutely. So as you mentioned, my name is Chris Blyth. I'm the one of the co-founders and co-CEOs of LIFT Digital. We have a platform called LIFT Session. LIFTsession.com is our website, which very, very briefly is essentially a digital health club. We have a network of amazing fitness professionals, and they conduct live personal training sessions via live video. So we have, literally clients all over the world, literally fitness professionals all over the world, and live personal training is being conducted via our platform. So we can get into a little more details down the road, but just to give a very brief synopsis of what we're doing.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I'm excited to get into that in a little bit more depth. So could you explain sort of your background, like how did you get started in the health and fitness industry? Was this an idea that you came up with a friend, or did you start off as a trainer? How did you end up, kind of saying, oh, all right, I see this need, in the environment. I think this is something that we can create and it will help a lot of people out.
All right. Hopefully you have some coffee with you. So I started out, actually my career, I started out my career working in New York City, working in advertising for about 6 years, which was not, it clearly was not where I wanted to be. I liked the marketing side of things, but being an account manager, that type of thing was not a fit for me. So I had always been super passionate, personally passionate about fitness and nutrition and learning about it and, exercising, and lifting weights and all that stuff since probably, 14, 15, I play a lot of sports and all that stuff, but really was, very interested in it and learning about the body and how to improve it and how to get stronger and all of those things. So, that coupled with my displeasure for the advertising industry and this, I really liked working with people one-on-one, interacting with people one-on-one. So I said, you know what, let me see if I can become a personal trainer and see what that is all about. So I got certified through ACSM. And I got a job, working as a personal trainer for Equinox in New York in Tribeca, in their Tribeca location. And I liked it. I liked it very, very much. Built up a client base pretty quickly. Was, fortunate to kind of build up my client base very quickly and actually moved into a management role about 6 months later. So I became a personal training manager. which was my first management experience, which was very stressful and strange because I went to, working with my peers to managing them. So at the same location. So that was an interesting transition. But it went well. Spent a little over 2 years at Equinox. At the time I thought my sort of vision for my fitness career was to open up my own health club at some point. So I was a personal training manager. I wanted to become a general manager. And then I thought I would know everything I needed to know to open up my own club. So anyway, at Equinox, things weren't moving as quickly as I wanted. I was a little impatient. So I left and I got an amazing opportunity, as the fitness director working for the Core Club, which is a super, super high-end private membership club in Midtown Manhattan, that opened in September of 2005. So I joined them before opening it up, and was there for about 5 years, first as fitness director, then as, actually director of operations. So I kind of expanded my role there. It was great experience. Got to work with, CEOs of significant corporations, former professional athletes, all those things. So it was really, really cool experience. And it was really a startup as well. It was, this brand new club. And then, after that, so after about 5 years there, I ran a health club again in New York City called Clay, which is, down on 14th Street between 5th and 6th. I was the general manager there for 2 years. And that was a great experience as well. And just stepping one step back, when I was at the Core Club and was moved into this director of operations role, it really pulled me away from fitness for the most part. And at that time, I thought I was cool with that because I was learning new things. I was, experiencing like running a luxury hospitality, business essentially. But later, once I was working at Clay, I kind of remembered, what it was, why I had gotten into fitness, that it was truly, something that I was passionate about. And it was something that I had been missing for several years while at the Core Club. So it was a great experience getting back into the fitness industry. And so I loved being in it, but, there were a couple things that I found frustrating. And I'll mention two of them. One was, looking around at other industries, whether it be travel or, media, music, retail, pretty much every industry out there, had been either revolutionized or dramatically impacted by technology. And the health club industry really had not. Looking at these other industries that have been either disrupted or just grown or really dramatically impacted, I was like, wow, that's really cool. Why is nothing like that happening in this industry? Like nothing. It was just
right.
Very, kind of old school, I guess, if you will, as far as an industry. So that was one thing that was sort of frustrating to me. And then the other thing was this very consistent inconsistency to the personal training business. So we had at Clay, we had an amazing personal training business. I think 30% of our members trained, but there was that very, again, consistent inconsistency of January things pick up, go pretty strong through May and actually through June. In July, you start dropping off pretty dramatically. August is horrendous. September is horrendous. October is usually great. November is half great, half awful. December, half great, half awful. And then we start again. And to me, that just seemed like it seemed strange that we couldn't do anything about that it was what it was. When it was, August, people are away in the Hamptons or wherever, and your business suffers. So the thing that was frustrating to me is I would have, trainers that I managed, come into my office and in August and say, you know what, all my clients are gone. What should I do? I'm not making any money. And I didn't have a solution for them. My solution was something like, find a new client or find some new clients, or train them a little bit more before they go away and more when they come back. And so anyway, so this is making a long story long. I literally had sort of an epiphany type moment where I thought, why can't we leverage existing technology? Why can't trainers train their clients remotely via live video? Why can't we take the fitness DVD that's been around for 25 years and move it into the 21st century, where it's not just some static content that was created for a broad audience, but on the screen instead is your coach that you have a relationship, that knows your goals, knows your injury history, knows your likes, dislikes, all that stuff, and can customize the session and your program, based upon around you. So that's where sort of this initial idea came from, is just those pain points that health clubs have had and continue to have, that trainers that either work for health clubs or work on their own have. And at the end of the day, clients aren't getting results or won't get results if they're not consistent. It's just not going to happen. And a lot of times they are not as consistent as they need to be to get results, purely because of either life, business, whatever gets in the way of them getting into the gym, or to their trainer. So kind of trying to remove those barriers, those excuses, and essentially, enable a trainer to be able to reach into the home of their client, a client to be able to have access to their coach if they're on the road or whatever. So that was the original concept, or the original thinking behind it. And, I came up with the idea. I, very fortunately met my partner, through a friend who was a trainer. And my partner happens to be a serial entrepreneur, had sold his last company to Dell for a lot of money. And actually, when we met, he had experienced the customer side of the equation. So he, was a business executive, traveled a lot, and, had a personal trainer, but didn't train very consistently because he traveled so much. So he understood from the customer side of things that frustration. So it really resonated with him in that way. And so he, was on board. So he quit his job at Dell and was like, let's do this. So we put together a team. Actually, first we built a prototype. And when I say we, I mean, not me, because I don't know how to build anything technologically. But we built a prototype. We built a beta, and we put it out in the market to see what the response would be, with trainers as well as with clients, to see, what the feedback would be. And we were blown away with the positive response, both on the trainer and client side, to the point where clients were saying, I want to do this. What does it cost? Like we just wanted to get feedback, like, does this suck or is this good? Do you like it or do you hate it? Whatever. And not only did they love it, but they wanted to do it. So that was a big validation point for us. And then we raised some money, built up a team, a lot of actually my partner's, team that he had worked with in prior companies. We brought them on board and started to continue to build out the product. And I'll get into sort of describing the product a little down the road, but, we felt that there were essentially two ways that we could take this solution. One, was going to businesses, i.e. health clubs, and saying, hey, leverage our platform, extend your training services outside of the walls of your club for existing clients when they travel or move or whatever it may be, but also potentially to reach into other markets that maybe, people that would love access to your brand and your level of training, but they don't live near you, or they don't have access to that. So marketing your brand and your services into people's homes, literally globally. And then the other was a direct to consumer angle. So building up our own network of fitness professionals and marketing live online personal training to consumers, directly to consumers. So those were sort of the two paths that we saw. And we started with the business to business path. So we partnered with Equinox, and we continue to work with them to this day. And some other smaller health clubs that we continue to work with. But really, Equinox has been the real commercial relationship. And we've been working with about seven of their clubs, 2 in Dallas, 3 in New York, 1 in Greenwich, Connecticut, 1 in Boston. So spread out, mostly Northeast, but a little bit in the Texas area. With their tier 4 trainers, which are their top level trainers. And they've been using the platform for over a year now with their clients. And they really use it for what they call, or what we would call, session recapture. So clients traveling, normally those sessions aren't happening, but this is a way to recapture those sessions. And it's been going well. But what we found, I would say, maybe but, we found a couple of things. One is we got some exposure, PR wise with that relationship and some other relationships that we established. And we started having consumers coming directly to our website saying, hey, I'm not an Equinox member, or, I don't like going to health clubs. Like, can I get a trainer in my home? Like, how can you help me? So we started seeing this significant demand from consumers that wanted this service. And so we made a decision, that we would stop really pushing for multiple health clubs, as clients. We would continue to work with Equinox, but we were going to shift our focus to our own digital fitness club, where we would provide different types of online training services to clients, and we would market that. So that's really what we've been focused on for the last about 8 months, which has gone incredibly well. So we offer a free 30-minute training session to anyone that wants to try. You go to liftsession.com, you press on sign up, you pick the date and time you want to do it, you give us a little information about maybe your goals or any injuries you may have, and you'll get a live one-on-one training session with what we call a fitness concierge. So that session is, part sort of get to know you, part assessment, part training session, and then part sort of recommendation on what we think, based upon your goals, your fitness level, all those things, what we think you should be doing for your training regimen, and who we think would be the best fit for you. So then we have this network of, and Joe, you are part of this network, these fitness professionals that, we will match up with these clients and say, you know what, Sarah, we think that Joe is a great match for you because he's incredible with kettlebells and you want to get stronger and blah, 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 blah. And we make the introduction, and then those sessions take place, between you and your new client, Sarah, that I just made up. And the thing that's really exciting is that 88% of the people that try that free session end up signing up as members and end up working with one of our coaches, which is obviously a really incredible conversion rate. And the other exciting sort of metric, and not to talk too many numbers, but and we don't have a long period of time that we've been doing this, but our retention rate is very, very high at 76%. So month over month, so someone tries a free session, 88% of them they want to do this, they want to continue to do this, and 76% of those like to continue to do it month over month. So it isn't sort of a one-off thing typically. It is something that people really love. And we're super excited about where we're going with this. And as you can tell, I can go on and on and on about this, but I have some other sort of things that we have in the works that we can talk about in a little bit.
That's awesome, man. No, that was fantastic. I appreciate you going into depth and detail and sharing the backstory for the audience and everything. And there's one of the things I love about LIFT is, you address a lot of the pain points that you went over from the trainer side as well as the client side. But the way that the platform has been built and the dashboard, so to speak, really allows for the client to get top quality coaching. There's a lot of other platforms out there, and you sort of have the thousands of videos of exercise library at your fingertips, which is great. But the unfortunate side of that is you're not getting direct feedback on how you are executing the movement or the lift, so to speak. Whereas with Lift Session, you are getting real-time feedback on the exercise that you're currently doing during that 30-minute training session.
No, you are preaching to the choir here, Joe. So we very, very strongly believe in the power, the importance, the impact that educated fitness professionals can have on people. We don't believe that can be replaced by an app, a YouTube video, a fitness DVD. We believe that it's incredibly important. We believe everyone should have a coach. I believe everyone should have a coach. It's night and day between trying to do it on your own versus having someone that's holding you accountable, that's giving you feedback on your form, that's pushing you that extra rep or 10 seconds or whatever it may be. So the interactivity, the live interactivity, and that actually it's funny. When I describe LIFT to people, pretty much every time I have to tell them that I have to repeat the fact that it's live multiple times for them to understand that it's a live interactive session where it's audio and video, and you can talk to your coach and they're talking to you. It's not static in any way. And I think, Joe, as you experience, and certainly when you've trained me, it very much as a client feels like you're in the same room as your coach. Very, very quickly. Very quickly you forget the fact that you're in front of a screen because you're focused on performing the movement and listening to the coaching. And so anyway, it's again, I'll throw this in multiple times, but the way to really understand that is to try a free session, to sign up on our website and try it, whether you're a fitness professional or a fitness enthusiast. That's how you fully understand kind of what we're describing here. But then, one of the things you mentioned as far as the dashboard, I just want to kind of describe the product to some degree, just so people get a little bit of an idea of what this kind of looks like and what the functionality is like. So we have two. There's two options as far as devices to do a lift session on. So one is an iPad. So we have an iPad app called Lift Session, and then we have a web version which can be found at liftsession.com. We really built the platform from the trainer perspective. So we wanted to empower a fitness professional with the tools that they would need to be able to conduct an amazing training session. So that was sort of the viewpoint that we came from. So we built we started with building an exercise library. That a trainer or a coach could build a customized program from. Every exercise in the library has a video clip, a very short video clip associated with it. And the reason why we built it that way is because when you are training someone from an iPad or from a computer, it's kind of awkward to demonstrate an exercise for them to, get up from your seat and step back from your computer and show them the squat or whatever you want to show them. So rather than doing that, and you can do that, but rather, as an option, you can just click on a button, a video clip comes up of the exercise that you want your client to perform. You and your client go picture in picture, and there you have the opportunity to describe the movement that you want your client to perform. You can even pause it and, emphasize certain aspects of the movement that you want them to focus on. Let's say it's a squat. You could pause it in sort of the bottom of the squat position and talk about how you want them to drive through their heels. So anyway, so that's one feature. Every exercise also has a default setting as far as time or reps that the trainer can edit, based upon, the client and their fitness level. And then when you go into the session, there's all these other tools that are available. One, is, timers. So basically there's an overall session timer. But then every exercise, when you start a set, a timer starts. So the coach starts a timer, whether it's a time-based exercise, so you're counting down from 30 seconds, or if it's a rep-based exercise, it'll time how long it takes to do those reps. There's a feature called whiteboarding, which gives the coach the ability to draw on the screen, which the client sees, of course, to provide visual feedback. And it can be on their form. It could be on, giving them targets to jump to or reach to. So it's a visual communication tool, like the video clip is a visual communication tool as well. Coach can take notes during the session, whether they're just positive reinforcement notes like great job, or more specific, left hip is tighter than right hip, which happens to be the case with me. So all of that information, and calories are calculated based upon the client's weight, the movement that they're doing, how long they're doing it for. With our iPad app, if the client is wearing a Bluetooth heart rate monitor, live heart rate is tracked throughout the whole session. So both the coach and the client see the live heart rate, and it's tracked. So all of these metrics and all the exercises that are being performed are stored in a session summary. So at the end of the session, the coach and the client go into a session review where the coach can review any notes that they took throughout the session. They can review the statistics for that session, how long the training session took place, how many calories were burned, if there was a heart rate monitor involved, max heart rate, average heart rate, even going into what the heart rate changed in a particular set of a particular exercise. So it's super, super, super detailed. And then again, everything is stored in the cloud, and it's not just available, right after the session, but you as a coach, you can go and look at every past session with every client. So you can, let's say you haven't trained someone in a little while and you're like, oh, let me just think what we did last session. You can go back into that last session, see any notes that you took, see the statistics, the program that you did. And the client actually has access to the program as well. So they can go and look, what they did with their coach, any notes that coach took. So it's really, really, we feel it's very, very comprehensive. We have tons and tons of exciting plans down the road, but that's, probably overly detailed, description of what the product is like.
No, that's fantastic. Thank you. I think couple things I wanted to clarify just from the trainer and the kind of the user experience for the client and stuff. So it's important to note that, when it comes to the videos, you have like a short video demonstration, which is simply, if it's an exercise that the person is not familiar with whatsoever, this is a visual representation of how to perform and execute that exercise. And it's usually like an 8 to 10 second video clip. So very, very quickly, it doesn't take a long time for that person to process the material. And then they would go into the, set or the reps for that particular exercise. And then you can use a lot of the features like you talked about using the whiteboarding. So the big thing that I think is important to get across for trainers and for potential clients is that flow of how the session's conducted. So it makes it very easy for the client to learn in a compressed amount of time. Because again, this is all happening within 30 minutes. So the quality of the session is very, very high. The person's learning a lot, and they're getting a lot of coaching and individual attention, which tends to fall off a lot on other platforms. So I think that's like one of the big points I'd like to drive home from a person that's experienced it as a trainer and as on the client side of things.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I guess a couple of things. So our generally our goal is really to make training accessible to everyone. All of the common North America, less than 85 or less than 15% of people go to the gym, participate in fitness. I'm sure the numbers are way worse than that, but as far as we know, it's something along
Right.
over 85% of the North American population is not participating in fitness in any meaningful way. Some of the reasons, and not all, are or some of the reasons that people use for not participating is they don't have the time, it's not convenient, they're intimidated. They're intimidated to go to the gym, or they don't know what to do when they get there, or they're not feeling great about how they look. So they're like, you know what, I'm not even gonna bother. So we want to remove as many of those reasons or excuses as possible, and make it you can literally roll out of bed, get in front of your device, go into a session. 30 minutes later, you've had an amazing session with an amazing coach, go in your own shower, and you're done. For someone to say to me, I don't have, 30 minutes to 60 minutes a week. And it's literally 30 to 60 minutes, right? Because there's no driving to the gym. There's no, taking a shower at the gym. It's, you roll out of bed, you get in front of, wherever you are. And you're in that session, and then you're done. It really takes a lot of the excuses out of the equation. Like, I'll just give you my personal example. So not surprisingly, I typically do lift sessions for my fitness. But I do go to a gym. I live in Connecticut and in the suburbs. And the gym is probably, so I'll go and do cardio on my own every now and then, just for, I wouldn't call it fun, but whatever, just to sweat a little in a different way. And I'll typically go and do 30 minutes on like the step mill or the Yark trainer. Those are my kind of go-to cardio equipment. And for me to do that 30-minute cardio, I have to get in my car. I get my bag together, get in my car, drive. It's about 11, 12-minute drive, park, go into the locker room, change, do my 30-minute workout, go take a shower, change, go to my car, drive home. That 30-minute workout typically takes about an hour and 45 minutes for me to do, which if I were someone that, for example, commuted to New York City every day at 8 in the morning or something like that, to do that before or after my commute in and out of the city, it wouldn't happen. And I think that's how so many people kind of live their lives is, they do have busy lives, and it can be a significant amount of time to get to a gym to do a workout. And then, so anyway, long way of saying doing lift sessions are typically very, very efficient.
Yeah, no, it is very efficient. It's very convenient, high quality user experience for the trainer and the client. And just a wonderful dashboard, like you said, with a lot of functionality and stuff. So the next question I have for you is, audience has heard from me as a, trainer and client experience, but what are your thoughts? How is Lift Session different from other platforms out there in terms of the experience as well as the tools and the functionality?
So, as you and I'm sure all of your listeners have seen, there are hundreds, probably thousands of apps, websites, DVDs, the apps, there's a dozen of these that claim to be, a personal trainer in your pocket. So there's all of these, technology enabled, solutions that are specifically designed to remove the fitness professional from the equation. Obviously we've taken sort of the opposite tact, which is, empowering fitness professionals with technology.
Right.
Pretty much almost all of these other, options out there. And, if it works for someone, it works for them. Like, that's great. Like, if P90X works for you, awesome. If, yoga DVDs work for you, awesome. If, a certain fitness app that, has some videos at play and you look at them and you do it on your own and that works for you and safely and all that, that's awesome. We believe very strongly that, again, the high quality fitness professional makes all the difference in someone getting results safely, effectively, and frankly, more fun, and
Yes.
there's also that accountability. Like, literally, one of the things that our clients tell us that is hugely impactful is they know when they have an appointment, they need to show up because someone else is showing up. It's not, I'm going to go pop in the DVD now. It's someone's there waiting for you. So that has a huge impact on someone sticking to it, showing up, doing it. So anyway, getting back to your question, the live and interactivity part is the most significant difference. And then when you couple that with all of the features that are built in, from whiteboarding to calorie calculation to heart rate monitoring to notes to the programs, customized programs to the video clips, all of those combined with the live coaching aspect, that's what makes it very, very different. I'm sure there's plenty of fitness professionals that use Skype or FaceTime, and that's fine as well. But those aren't designed for training. This is designed specifically for training, and it really does enhance the client experience and, frankly, the coach experience. It makes it a very professional experience, again, on both sides of the equation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I totally agree. And I've experienced it myself. So that's part of the reason that I'm having you on. Yeah. You gotta promote stuff and share stuff that you use yourself and believe in. And that's why we're here.
Yep.
Awesome, man. Is there anything else that you kind of want to touch on regarding LIFT? I know you mentioned there's some things in the works. So maybe we could kind of tease some of those things out to the audience. You don't have to reveal all the big plans that are coming.
Absolutely. No, I'd love to share. So right now, LIFT, is designed for one-on-one training. And I will actually, a slight caveat, we do group training as in one coach with multiple people in one location. So we have, for example, companies that we'll do classes for. Or actually, Lululemon is a great partner of ours, and we'll have classes in their stores. So we'll have like a coach up in Montreal teaching a class in Greenwich, Connecticut in one of their stores. So we do classes, but again, the primary sort of functionality that has been built is for one-on-one coaching. We are launching within a couple of months, small group training, as in one coach, multiple clients in multiple locations. So there's a few different angles to talk about this. One is that from a client experience perspective, you have that group experience, which some people really, really like. And some people like more than that a one-on-one experience. They like, either the competitive nature to it or just the sort of more camaraderie, social aspect to it. So imagine, you and your sister and your friend, that live in California, and your brother-in-law that lives in, whatever, don't want to do too many time zones here in Florida, want to train together. You can do that from, each in your own home. So we're really, really excited about group training from a bunch of different perspectives. One, we think there are a lot of people out there that will be really attracted to that from, the type of coaching that they would like. Two, it will enable us to provide a lower cost option. We feel that the value that we deliver with one-on-one coaching is pretty great, and it's roughly $40 per 30-minute session. But that's not for everyone. So we're creating a sort of another tier below that where you can have a live interactive session with other people. So it's not quite as customized to you, the individual, but it still is live interactive. You're still getting that feedback. That's something.
The convenience.
And you're getting the convenience for sure. And then a third sort of tier below that we will be launching as well, is really a program oriented, solution. So you do that free 30-minute session in the beginning. You say, you know what, I'm very self-motivated. I like to work on my own. We deliver you programs for you to do that are customized to you and what your goals are, that you can you perform on your own. So again, similarly to some of the apps that are out there, but monitored by our fitness concierge, and you get a 15-minute live consultation with them once a month. So again, we'll be able to offer even lower price point option, extremely low, probably, whatever. We're figuring that out as far as what it will cost. But the idea here is really providing a full service digital fitness club. Like you think of it as let's say an Equinox, where you have sort of a base membership that you go in and you can experience, the club. And then you have maybe a tier above that where you have group training, and you have a tier above that, which is one-on-one training. And that's really what we're replicating in a digital world. And we're really, really excited about that. So those two other, service, options will be available in the next couple of months, that we're really excited about.
Yeah, that is very exciting for sure. There's will be some great options, provide people with some other, price points and stuff. But I really like the idea of the small group training where you can, connect with family members that live across the world or across the country and do a training session together. That's really, really cool. And that is definitely something that is, not currently out there. So that's pretty unique twist on, small group training.
Yeah. No, we're super, super excited about that. We think it'll be fun. We think, so anyway, we're looking forward to that. There's a lot of, wearables that we're looking at integrating. So there's different types of tracking. So we're really excited about where we are, where we're going. We really think we can, the way I look at it is, I really feel like we feel there's a huge gap between, someone that, again, I keep using Equinox as an example just because I'm very familiar with them. But they have a client base that, that personal trains will spend quite a bit of money every month, on their fitness, which is awesome. But we feel there's a big gap between that person and the person that maybe does P90X at home. And that's where we can fill as another option there, that really, again, our goal is to make training super, super accessible, at a very, very high level. And we want to impact people's lives. We want to change people's lives. We want to, enable fitness professionals to be successful, and more successful with their business and have a global business opportunity. And we want to have people, and we do have people, from all over the world that want and need access to top fitness coaches. And we have clients in New Zealand. We have clients in LA. We have clients in Florida. We have clients in Paris and London, which is really, exciting when you think about, we don't need to build physical clubs in all these locations. We're able to service people from anywhere, which is really exciting.
That is super cool. That is super cool. And the fact that you can sort of have that network of clients and coaches across the world, you can be getting, potentially coaching from somebody, in a different country. And it could be a very different perspective than in your home country, which is a good thing because it sort of just exposes you to, another, coaching style or another way or another philosophy, so to speak.
Yep. Absolutely.
Awesome. Anything else you want to add before we move into rapid fire?
Just the last thing I will reiterate for anyone listening, please try a free session. You go to liftsession.com, sign up, schedule whenever is good for you. And, that's the only way you'll fully understand what Joe and I have been talking about. But I encourage anyone, or if you know of anyone that you think might like it, just throw them our way and we'll take good care of them.
No, absolutely. I'll be sure to include that in the show notes, so that way they can hop right on over to the site and check that out. Awesome, man. So let's, cool. We're going to move into the rapid fire here.
All right.
So I get to put you on the hot seat a little bit, so to speak.
Okay. Making me nervous here. You're making me nervous.
All right. First question. What advice would you give yourself 10 years ago? So given your current experiences, your current level of knowledge, you go back in time, what would you say to Chris Blyth 10 years ago?
Oh, that's a good question. There's two approaches to this. One, I would say nothing, because I kind of feel like things happen for a reason and you are where you are because that's how you're supposed, where you're supposed to be. So in some ways I wouldn't want to disrupt what's supposed to happen. But from that's not really answering your question. So to actually answer your question, I'd probably say be patient. 'Cause I think I've always been sort of, a little impatient and, wanting things to happen faster than they can or than they will. And, and that certainly holds true even today with LIFT. It takes time anything worthwhile takes time.
Oh yeah.
And whether it's, someone's that's trying to change their body, trying to lose weight, trying to get stronger, that takes time. That does not happen overnight, does not happen in a week or a month. And whether it's building a great business, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of time. And anyway, patience.
No, I love it. I mean, that's probably something that I'm really working on myself. So it is so true. And it is definitely hard because, I think the struggle kind of right now at this point in society is that we have access to so much information and so much technology, mm-hmm. but the expectation that comes with that is that it is sort of instantaneous. And yep. There's this disappointment or anger or frustration when it doesn't happen very quickly. And that has, carried over into other aspects of our lives for sure.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. What is your favorite strength training exercise if you had to pick one?
Ooh, that is tough. I'm gonna cheat. So the get up, Turkish get up, is way up there for me. But I also kind of throw in the deadlift. I think those two are just amazing, important exercises for pretty much anyone, because they're so applicable to any sport and any part of your life, pretty much.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the funny thing is, I'm just going to say this. The funny thing is that I haven't tallied them up. I should do this at some point, but most of the responses I get are either those two exercises.
Okay.
And it's funny because I don't preempt anybody. Like unless my guests listen to an episode ahead of time and know, cause I always ask the same rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So it's funny to get the same responses, which tells you that those two exercises are well respected, well liked by, the individuals that come on the show, but they have a ton of value.
No question. No question.
Awesome, man. Awesome. How has your training changed today compared to 10 years ago?
Oh, so 10 years ago, how old was I? That was a long time ago. The quick and easy answer is that I do LIFT. So that was not available 10 years ago. And I didn't work with trainers, 10 years ago, either. I mean, I was a trainer, so, I might train with a trainer, as a friend. But I would say actually that's probably the key thing. I use a coach now for all of my training, and it is absolutely night and day. And I will say also, between approximately the last 10 years, more like 13 years, but, when I was a trainer, I was training quite hard, but after, when I was sort of more into management, I was definitely going through the motions and doing the basic movements, doing my squats and deadlifts and whatever, but never pushing myself, never frankly getting better, at anything. And having a coach, again, it sounds like I am highly biased, but I just know what a difference that a good coach makes, so anyway, that's the big difference is I use a coach now for all my training. 10 years ago, I did not. And I'm glad I'm wiser.
Awesome. Love it. What injury have you had, if you've had one, and how did that injury change your training?
So there's one injury that I had that was sort of strength training related, where, this was further than 10 years ago, where of course I would try to bench lots of weight and really not intelligently. And, I definitely had some shoulder issues from that. And at some point, and this is probably, and getting older and wiser type of thing, the whole ego thing became a little less important, and being healthy and feeling good. Still wanting to be strong and get strong, but, that became more important. So that was one injury. And, I had sort of a little freak injury with my knee, where I got a deep cut that went partially into my quad tendon and sort of had to rehab back. And that actually got me into squatting, after, being, immobilized for like 6 weeks and, losing a lot of, strength in that leg. So, again, back in the day, benching and whatever was my thing, that kind of forced me into focusing a little bit more on my lower body and getting into squatting and stuff like that. So.
Nice. All right. What's one aspect of training that high school athletes, junior athletes should be doing more of to complement their health and training?
To be honest, I don't know what sort of typical high school athlete athletic training is looking like these days. There certainly are some very progressive schools out there that have a real strength coach that's, got the background and is integrating that at a much earlier level than back when I was in high school. So I don't have an educated answer for that. I would probably say that, I would hope that there are kettlebells involved.
All right. Cool. I like that. As long as they're getting good quality instruction and,
for sure,
progressing within their ability, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. What's your best tip to improve recovery from a training session?
I haven't tried any of like the ice baths and things like that, so I can't speak to those. Generally, I'd say getting enough sleep is really, really important. And, we're seeing a lot more that's a bigger topic these days than it has certainly been in the past. But there's a lot of support that getting your 8 hours of sleep is incredibly important to overall health, but certainly improving your performance and recovering, which enables you to improve your performance.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, that is so important from a injury prevention standpoint, as well as just being able to recover and be at your best for the next training session.
Yep.
What's your favorite meal?
Oh, I really am a big fan of food. And now that I live outside of New York City, I miss the ridiculous number of amazing places to eat. So, what is my favorite type of food? I mean, well, I love a great burger. I love a great burger.
Nice. Awesome. All right. Final question. What's one book everyone should read? These are hard, man. I know.
These are. Jeez.
I make people think. They actually were like, wow, I got to put a lot of thought into these. So,
there's two that I really liked a lot that, I think, What Would Google Do? I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Okay.
And I don't have it in my bookshelf, so I don't know where it's hiding. But I found that very, very interesting because it sort of looks at all these different industries and how the thinking that Google, and this was a while ago. It might be 10 years, 8 to 10 years old now. So, but how they kind of would look at an industry and turn it upside down. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there's some examples of like the healthcare industry and stuff like that I thought were pretty interesting. So that was one book. And then the Steve Jobs, book, which was called, was it just Jobs? No. The one, this is so pathetic. I think I have it on my phone. Hold on. Let me see if I can dig it up for you. It's so sad. Hopefully you can edit out. It's just called Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson.
Yep.
I thought that was pretty amazing, and obviously he's an easy topic of amazing people, but I found the book pretty fascinating.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. That was great stuff.
Cool. Well, thanks a lot, Joe. It's great to be here. Appreciate it, and hopefully you'll be training me again soon on LIFT.
Yeah, absolutely. Just hang on a second. Let me give you a proper goodbye and we'll wrap this up.
Okay.
Thanks for tuning in and listening to this episode of the Leo Training Podcast. If you enjoyed the content, I would greatly appreciate it if you would take a moment of your time, head on over to iTunes and drop in a 5-star review. Or head on over to your favorite social media networks such as Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or Instagram, and please share this content so that others may enjoy it. Be sure to tune in next week for another brand new interview when I sit down with Mitch Sadowski, the Director of Golf Fitness at Lake Nona Golf and Country Club in Orlando, Florida. Mitch works with professional and amateur golfers and athletes on functional, strength, and speed training.
Thanks for listening to the Leo Training Podcast. Subscribe and get even more expert training tips at www.leotraining.io.